What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope you are having a good day so far. Hope you're having a good day so far. On a now, I guess, weekly basis, daily basis, Monday through Friday, typically I'm going to be trying to go live at around 10 a.m. every day instead of noon, just because it fits my schedule better now to do so. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Obviously, I did not go live at 10 today, and there's a reason for that. And it has to do with the title of this live, which is using negativity or frustration or whatever some negative emotion or like feeling, and utilizing it as a like fuel source for your success to build things up rather than to tear things down or tear yourself down or break things down basically. And so I'm going to be talking about how I personally kind of flip that switch, and when I notice things going on in my own life or things going on with my own emotions and things like that going in a direction that I know long term is not sustainable or like good for me or for those around me. I have these steps in place to like help me grow through that rather than break things down and make things worse, right? And so today I'm going to be talking about that because lately the last couple of days have been extremely stressful. They've been very not good, not good. And if you've looked at my story, you know why that is. Just in terms of like childcare stuff going on right now. Some not so like not so some not so cool things happening right now with my kid's daycare and a kid that's at my kid's daycare and things like that. And we'll kind of keep it at that. If you want to look at that, you can look at my story. But if you're watching though right now, like at some point in your life, you've probably experienced negativity or negative self-talk or had negative emotions or things like that. That's part of the human experience. But there are times, right, where you have a bad day, right, where your day might not start off right. You might be in a really bad mood. Maybe somebody hit your car. Maybe you're in the situation like we're in right now, where there's a kid that is bullying or like hurting your kid at school or something like that, and it's extremely frustrating. And you're feeling angry. You've got all these like emotions and things like that on a very like raw level. But at its base, we all have bad days, right? And so I want to talk about that today. And if you are having a bad day right now, definitely listen up. But it's a given that at some point in our lives, we're probably going to have another bad day. It's part of life. It's part of existing. It's part of the human experience. And so let's talk, like, this is going to be important for you no matter what, as well. And so for me, um, you know, whenever I'm having a bad day, whenever I'm struggling, whenever like I am, angry, right? Just to give you guys a background on me, I'm a very rational and reasonable person. I really try to like give benefit of the doubt. I try not to let my emotions get the best of me. But growing up, like as like a child, as a teenager, like I definitely like, and as a kid, like I had a hard time dealing with my temper. I had a very hard time, being vulnerable and being like my emotions were always being worn on my sleeve like crazy. Like that was just like how I grew up. That's just how I was as a child. And it developed through being a teenager. It definitely got better. I got better at regulating my emotions and directing them. But even still sometimes I will like my emotions will get the best of me. And for me, when that happens, it's really hard to like it's really hard to direct that anger when it happens to me. And so I'm somebody who like if I had a default emotion, it would probably be anger, right? That would probably be my default emotion. Some people it's sadness or crying or jealousy or whatever it may be, but mine is anger. And so for me, coming on here, I just want to be upfront and just be honest. Like if somebody does me dirty or somebody like is being like disrespectful or something happens in that sense, that's what I default to. And so I have had to, really put in a lot of work for myself, and it's gotten like so much freaking better as I've grown, as I've started learning more about myself, as I've started like working on regulating my own emotions better. It's one of those things that if you're somebody who can relate to that, or if you've got like if you default to sadness, or if you default to anger, like me sometimes, it can be improved upon. I want you, if you're watching this right now, I don't want you to think that you're like a lost cause, or that you always have to be that way, or that you always have to be, sad, or you always have to be angry, you always have to be jealous, or you always have to be whatever. Like those negative emotions that you feel, there's a reason why you're feeling them, but there's something that you can do about it. Like in some sense, we are always in control. Even when you may not feel like it. And part of the process is like, working on feeling, is working on, when you start to have those feelings, like changing the behavior, even with yourself. And so for me, um, I've had to work on that a lot. I have had to work on that a lot, and I'm really proud of how far I've come in terms of just like, my personal growth emotionally, in terms of like my own emotional maturity and things like that. But it's one of those things that it still is tough sometimes. It still is tough sometimes, and so even though I've come really far, and even though you may have come really far, things may pop up sometimes. And so when that happens, right, when that happens, we need to make sure that we've got things in place to help redirect that anger, redirect that jealousy, or that sadness, or that feeling of lack of control, right? And so whenever that does happen, basically, like I'm gonna lay it out for you guys what I do personally, and what I think that you guys should also do when it happens. Like in terms of like what I like to do. And so I see a comment here I'm going to read real quick. Kira says, yesterday was a really rough day. Lots of changes ahead as we change gears based on Aiden's neurodivergent needs. I've always been a pretty emotional person. Unexpected change is hard. I just want to burrow into a blanket and hide away. And yeah, and sometimes people will that's also like that's like a default, right? That's a default. And for me, like that's a default behavior. It's like whenever things like whenever people like feel stressed or pressure or whatever, it's all stress at the end of the day, right? You're reacting to a stressor. Some people default to like becoming more reclusive, or just kind of like not wanting to like get out there, like you want to like just kind of like chill, right? And so um for me, I'm a pretty hyper focused person. Whenever I get like hooked on something, right? Whenever I get hooked on like an idea, or like a game, or something that bothers me, like I hook onto it. Like I laser focus in on that shit, and I do not stop until whatever I want to accomplish gets accomplished. Same thing is applying right now with what's going on with our kid in daycare. I went off on my fucking story. I went off on my story because I felt like we weren't being heard. I feel like not enough was being done at the time, as of this morning. And so what I did was is I took it to the next level, and put it on my story and tagged KinderCare like 8 million fucking times. And guess what? I got a response from corporate, and so that's cool. And they let the district leader know, because guess what? I'm gonna get my shit answered, and I'm gonna get things like taken care of, like because I'm in control. I'm gonna direct my anger and my energy into something conducive and productive that's going to help me get to that next level, right? And so for you, if that's something that's going on with your life right now, where you're feeling feelings of sadness, or you're feeling feelings of whatever, like settling into those, like it's okay to feel those feelings for a bit, right? It's okay to feel those things, and it's okay to um, like feel the rawness of it. Like that's an important part of the process when it comes to handling emotions. But the key is not letting it become all consuming. Right? Don't let it become all consuming. Because for me, what I would always do is, if something would make me mad, if something would make me upset or sad, like it's all I can fucking think about. Right? It would be all that I could fucking think about for like hours. Like I just stewing in my own like mind about like how I wish, or how I want things to play out, or how I want whatever to happen. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. That takes up a lot of mental bandwidth. That takes up a lot of emotional energy. And I'm not saying that you can't, take a half hour, or take an hour to um, you know, breathe and feel those feelings. But after a certain period of time, you have to know when to let go of those things, and you have to know when to take back control. Because when you're in that, like, maybe it's that reclusive state, or that sad state, or that angry state, or that state where you're just not thinking clearly, or you're not it's taking up a lot of emotional mental bandwidth. Guess what? When you're doing that, you're letting whatever the issue was win, right? You're letting the asshole parent win. You're letting the person that hit your car win. You're letting whoever wronged you win whenever that happens. You're letting them win. You're letting them take control of your life because they're dictating your actions. They're dictating your thoughts at that point. And I don't like that shit. I don't like it whenever bad people or negative situations are in control of my life. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't want that for yourself. And so that's kind of like my thought process behind that. And that's why I think for those of you that are watching right now, you need to like, work on these things. And so I'm going to tell you guys what I do to help turn bad days into good days. And so for me, today, like meditating, taking a moment to breathe, some sort of grounding exercise for yourself, to take a step back, right? To take a step back, breathe, um, you know, do something to where you're calming your mind, you're putting yourself in a place or a position where you can think more clearly. I'm not saying you have to think completely clearly, but more clearly. Because for me, like last night, like after we found out that my kid got hurt again at school, like I shit you not, I had to go take like an hour to myself to just feel things and to just because I wasn't in a good headspace. I was fuming. I was so mad. Like I cannot even like begin to explain. Like I have not, and I talked about it on my story. I have not felt that level of anger in a very long time. And I knew that if I did not take a second to separate myself from the situation or separate myself from like what was going on, I was gonna like either say something or like not I wasn't gonna do anything, but like say something that I would regret or like go off or whatever it may be, and like direct it towards maybe, and we've all been there where we've had a bad day and maybe we've been a little bit snark with our family or we've been a little bit like a little bit short tempered or whatever it may have been, and I didn't want to do that to my family. I didn't want to do that to my family. I didn't want to let some asshole make me feel out of control and cause me to be like negative or shitty towards the people that I love, right? Like that doesn't help anybody. And so in that moment, I had to go take some time. I had to go upstairs and and fume. I called the center. I tore them a new one, and you know what? Sometimes you need to do that, and that's cathartic, and sometimes that's necessary to establish and make you feel like you're back in control. Obviously with a with some level of respectfulness towards people who it's obviously like not their fault and things like that, but like that's just sometimes something you have to do. You have to feel that feeling. You have to but separating yourself from the situation or separating yourself to where you can just be live through the emotions and live through the feelings, like that's a part of the process. But after that's done though, so that way you don't go down like a negative rabbit hole, you don't go down a shame spiral or a sadness spiral or whatever you want to call it. You need to take that time to ground yourself. You need to take that time to take a step back and breathe. And if that doesn't work, right, if that doesn't work, let it out, right? Like let it out. Like go tear up some cardboard or go if you've got a punching bag, go take it out on that. Like if you want to cry, if you're crying, if you're sad, write that shit out, get it on paper, talk to somebody about it, be let it out, don't bottle that shit up. Like that is not good. Bottling shit up is not good. Like that's not going to help solve things. That's going to just prolong and let it pop out and erupt late at a later time whenever you don't want it to. And so if you got to go out in the fucking woods and scream or yell into a pillow or whatever it may be, that's fine too, as long as you're not directing it at people that don't deserve it. As long as you're even if the people do deserve it, not directing it, just getting it out. Sometimes that's a necessity to process these emotions that you might be feeling right now. And so and at the end of the day though, people want to feel heard, right? People want to feel listened to. So make yourself heard. Make yourself feel listened to. Make yourself feel people are taking whatever you're dealing with seriously. Thus me going on social media and ripping KinderCare a new one. Like that, sometimes that needs to be done because you don't want especially when it's something like this that we're dealing with. It's you don't want that to happen again or happen again because it already happened twice or happen to other kids, right? You don't want shit to people. Daycares sweep shit under the rug all the time. That's just something that that's a risk that you take whenever you put your kid into childcare, right? You're giving other people the responsibility of taking care of your kids. And so, at the end of the day, we all have a choice. We all have a decision that we can make when it comes down to it. But make your voice heard. Don't bottle it up though. That's another thing that I already kind of mentioned, but don't bottle that shit up. Like I said, find an outlet, right? And for me, whenever, shit like this happens, I like to use it as fuel, right? To drive me forward, to build something, to and when you do that, when you take back that control and you don't let them take up mental bandwidth, but you use that like whatever, like anger, sadness, or whatever to create something, right? To build something up, to make yourself better, to work on yourself, and to maybe in this situation make it to where this doesn't happen again to other kids. Find something that you can like stand for, and find something that you can grow when it comes to this, right? Grow when it comes to this. And so the other thing I'll say too is just whenever it comes to comes down to it, like I'm not gonna let like some jerk, or I'm not gonna let some negative situation ruin my entire day, right? Like that's a whole day that I don't get back. This is a whole day of life that is so worth living, to like live it under like the umbrella of like negativity or sadness. Like that like truly lets them like win. Like that truly lets whatever like negativity or like the chaos of life, like you're letting it win. And I'm not about that. Like I don't want my entire day to like be ruined by something that that should that like yeah I have and it's valid, right? Like I have every right to be upset and to be angry and to be mad and to be like annoyed by like the fact that this shit's happening. But I can turn it around. I'm in control. And when I say that I'm in control and I give myself a choice to choose to either go down the negative rabbit hole and to just be a stewing, like angry, like grumpy asshole, like to like the situation, or I can like turn it around and direct it towards something like I'm gonna put this energy that I'm feeling into my business. I'm gonna put this energy that I'm feeling into my family. I'm gonna put this energy that I'm feeling into a constructive way towards my family, or some positive way in my life. Like that just like that does so much more for you and for your life than it does just to be angry and to be upset and to be sad about things. And so that's what I would suggest to you guys, is to just redirect it. Always remind yourself that on some level you are in control and that you are always steering the ship, whether you realize it or not. We always have some form of choice, and today I chose to give myself a more relaxed start to my day, to cool off. I got super heated last night, and I got super heated this morning again, and I was ready to like defend my family, no matter the cost, basically. And I would, I needed that time for myself and for my mind to direct this like raw emotion that I'm feeling into a more positive direction, right? And so if you're somebody right now who's feeling that same way, or if you've got some sadness, you got anger, you got jealousy, you got envy, you've got whatever it may be, right? Or you were wronged in some way, take that and take a step back, feel those feelings, ground yourself in whatever way that you like to ground yourself, and then redirect that shit and let it go. Like let it go. Like do what you can. I'm not saying this is going to be the last time I'm like upset about this situation that we're in right now, but what I am saying is that I'm going to go at it with like a very level head, and like I'm going to win. Like I'm going to win by like building something rather than destroying something. And so I think that we could all in those moments learn something from that, and benefit from doing that going forward. So other than that, though, that's all I really had for you guys today. I just wanted to come on here, be open, honest about how I'm feeling with how things are going right now. Tell you guys what I'm doing right now to make myself my best self, and what you guys can do too going forward. And so I hope that this was valuable for you. I hope that you guys can take something away from this and apply it to your life the next time something shitty happens in your day, because it's going to happen. It's inevitable that something's going to happen at some point, and so the better prepared you are for it, and the more like level-headed and open-minded and mindful you are when it does happen, the sooner you're going to be able to get back on track, get back on your fitness journey, get back on your success train going forward. And so that's why I wanted to do this live for you guys. So I hope you got value from it. I appreciate everybody for watching. Feel free to give this video a like so other people can see it. Feel free to drop your number one takeaway, and if you're watching this at a later time, hashtag replay so I know that you saw it. Other than that, guys, I'm going to let you all go. I got shit to do. I got things to build. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all later.